بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my brothers and sisters in Islam. We live in really dangerous times where the concepts of Islam are always attacked, and the concepts of Islam are being diluted, and the concepts are becoming confused in the minds of the Muslims. And one of these concepts where there's a lot of confusion surrounding it is the issue of hijab and the woman's dress code in Islam. And recently I was watching a brother Ali Dawah. He has a show called The Bitter Truth, where in various episodes they bring on a panel of brothers and sisters to discuss a lot of issues revolving around marriage, divorce, gender roles, and so on and so forth. Anyway, this show, they've received some criticism about the format of the show. Why are you bringing men and women together on this format? Because sometimes there's joking and mucking around, and some of the topics discussed, it shouldn't be discussed like that in this kind of format with brothers and sisters. And also some of the sisters that have come on the show are not wearing their hijab correctly, and their hair is showing and their necks are showing, they're wearing makeup. So the show has received some criticism. And brother Ali Dawah responded to this criticism. And I want to look at a short clip and two main ideas that were mentioned, and I want to discuss these ideas and clarify these ideas that were mentioned. So let's have a listen to a short clip from what brother Ali Dawah had to say in responding to this criticism of the sisters appearing on the show and they're not wearing the hijab properly.
And everything. So I do feel like, bottom line, yes, a man should, cook and clean.
Okay, look, may Allah bless you, sister, yeah? And one thing, just a disclaimer, because we're dealing with trolls. Our dear sister is, she's in the way of wearing hijab, because I know people are going to be like, oh, but she's not, fear Allah, yeah? The sister, alhamdulillah, may Allah bless her, she's, yeah, because you know why, bro? Oh, but, don't, please shut up, yeah, okay. This sister and sister Amira, they were having a go at her. Oh, but your hair's showing. She doesn't even wear the hijab. Sister Amira, by the way, yeah? She's trying to. And the way she was getting attacked, just that, because fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in people's journeys, okay? Just to give them, I'm so sorry, sister. It's just because.
Thank you.
Something about the hijab. Hijab is not forced, and that's a person. It's my wife's choice. She doesn't have to wear it for me. She has to wear it for Allah. So that's it. That's it. The thing is, I know maybe you might force your women to wear it, but they're wearing it because of your fear, not of Allah fear.
So that's brother Ali Dawah responding to the criticism. And so there's basically two ideas that I want to deal with. First of all, he mentions that fear Allah in people's journeys in Islam, right? That the sister is on a hijab journey, that the sisters aren't normally wearing the hijab, but when they came on the show, they don't even wear it. One of them came on the show in previous episodes and in this episode, and they covered themselves up a little bit, but their hair was still showing. And so this concept of people's journeys and personal growth and easing into actions, this is a secular liberal concept. It's not from Islam. We find this in secular societies where people don't want to commit to the right actions. They don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to have the discipline. So there's excuse where years and years go by and they can't perform certain actions. Why? Because I'm still learning. I'm still growing as a person. I'm not there yet. I'll get there eventually. And so this concept has crept into Islam. So in Islam, there is no personal journey in Islam. There is no hijab journey in Islam. When I say this, what do I mean? I mean that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits something, you must immediately comply with the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have time. You don't have years to go on a personal journey, on personal growth. I'm not ready to commit. I'll get there eventually. And this is not just in regards to the sisters. This is men and women. Any commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah commands, you must obey. So the brothers that don't pray, for example, and you see this regularly, that I'm trying to get there, I haven't achieved it yet, I'll take it slowly, it's hard to do it at work, I'll try going one prayer at a time daily. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands something, you must comply. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the hijab, the sisters must comply. Allah commands the prayer, the brothers must comply. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us this very clearly in the Quran. When he says, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِيمَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَجِدُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا. Allah says, Know by your Lord they do not believe until they make you, O Muhammad, a judge between them in all their affairs. And then they find nothing in their hearts against your decision. وَيُسَلِّمُوا تَسْلِيمًا, and they submit with absolute, complete submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah commands, you submit. And you know, Aisha radiallahu anha, she explains this to us very, very clearly. This concept, how it was understood in the minds of the Muslims. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded something, what was the reaction? And this is a famous narration of Aisha. She said, when the verses in Surah An-Nur came down, commanding the women to wear hijab, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُورِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ, and Allah says, let them cover with their khumur, their garments, over their juyub, over their chests and their bosoms. She said, when the women, she said, may Allah bless the women of the Ansar. She said, I've never seen such commitment and such iman like these women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down this commandment, and their husbands told them about the commandment of Allah. They informed them. She said they took up their aprons, they ripped them up, and they covered their hair and they covered their bosoms. They immediately complied with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There was no, oh Messenger of Allah, we're not ready, we've been living like this for 20 years, we're not used to it, it's going to take some time, it's going to take a personal journey, personal growth until I commit. No. Instantly their husbands told them the command, they complied. Another example, the famous example with when Anas ibn Malik narrates that when the verses came down to prohibit alcohol, the Muslims that were drinking, even some that were drinking, they had it in their mouths, they immediately spat it out. And all the Muslims in Medina, they took out all the alcohol and they started pouring it into the streets, instantly complying with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in Islam, we don't have personal journeys. We don't have hijab journeys. Brothers, men or women, when Allah commands, you must comply with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now that doesn't mean because the brother mentions that these sisters were getting attacked and trolled severely online. In saying this, the sisters shouldn't be criticized in this way. They shouldn't be attacked in this way. And on the individual level, if you know a Muslim brother or sister, they're having trouble performing a fard or stopping a haram, should you shun them and reject them and discredit them and push them away? Absolutely not. You're going to try and work with them. You're going to try and win them over. But your contact with them is not going to be normalized because they are committing sins. They should be warned and made aware of the gravity of what they are doing. But you should keep some attachment and closeness with them to make sure that you win them over and the shaitan doesn't take them. That's on the individual level. That's absolutely fine. You shouldn't push people away. But on the societal level, as a message to the Muslims, these actions shouldn't be normalized. So if you're coming on a Muslim platform, brother or sister, and you're performing haram, you shouldn't be allowed on that platform. Once the sisters come on that platform and they're not wearing the hijab properly, then they're going to be open to that criticism. And even though they shouldn't be attacked, but it's a fair criticism. So in Islam, there's no personal journey. There's no hijab journey. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands, you must immediately comply with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, men or women. The second idea what I want to deal with, that the second brother that spoke, he said that hijab is not forced. And he said, look, the husband can't go to the wife and force her to wear hijab, because then she'll be wearing hijab for his sake instead of the sake of Allah, and the action won't be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which is true. Right? But hijab is forced, and it will be forced, and it can be forced. What do I mean by this? See, we live under the illusion of freedom because we live in secular, liberal societies. They've convinced you have freedom of thought, freedom of action, freedom of belief. Even though they control your lives in every single way, but when it comes to haram and sins, they've convinced the people that they are free and they allow them to commit whatever haram that they want. So people now have this idea, and unfortunately it's entered into the minds of sisters, that when it comes to the issue of hijab, no one can force me to wear it. It's a personal choice. It's my free will. No, sisters, hijab is forced. It's not just hijab. The commandments of Allah are forced upon the people. If we were living in Islamic society, an Islamic community, like the society that was established by the Messenger ﷺ, and like when Abu Bakr became the Khalifa after the death of the Messenger ﷺ. When Allah commands something, it will be enforced. And what's the example? We see this very clearly when the Messenger ﷺ passed away and Abu Bakr became the Khalifa. And we know a lot of Muslims from Arabia, they left Islam and apostated. But some of them said, we're still Muslims, we still believe in Allah, but we don't want to pay the zakah. So Umar came to argue with Abu Bakr, who became the Khalifa. And he said to him, oh Abu Bakr, these people, leave them. They're still saying La ilaha illallah, but they don't want to pay the zakat. Leave them for now. What was the response of Abu Bakr? Abu Bakr said, by Allah, if they don't pay me the rope that they tie the goat or the sheep with, that they used to pay to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if they refuse even a rope for zakah, I will fight them until they pay the zakah. Meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded something, you must comply. You don't comply, the ruler of the Muslims will force you and punish you until you comply. So under the society when Abu Bakr was Khalifa, or Umar was Khalifa, if the sisters think that it's their personal choice and they can go into the streets and not wear the hijab, you won't be allowed. And if you do that, you'll be jailed and you'll be punished until you wear the hijab. And it's just not for sisters, men and women. All the commandments of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands, you must comply. So if there are brothers that don't pray and publicly don't pray, you'll be taken in by the state, you'll be warned, you'll be taught, and you'll be imprisoned. And if you still don't pray, you'll be punished even further. You must comply with the command of Allah. Men or women, the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are enforced. That's in this world. And on the day of judgment, when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be punished for not wearing the hijab, for not praying, for committing fornication, whatever the sin is. You meet the penalty and the punishment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So hijab is forced in Islam. It will be forced in this world under Islamic society, and you'll be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment when you meet Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So brothers and sisters in Islam, I wanted to highlight these 2 points when it comes to the issue of hijab, when it comes to the issue of the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no such thing as personal journey in Islam. I'm on a journey until I can pray. I'm on a journey until I can wear hijab. No, you must immediately comply with the command of Allah. And if you don't comply, then you're sinning. And hijab is forced in Islam. It's not a personal choice. It's not free will. All the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are forced in Islam under Islamic society. The Muslim ruler will force the people to comply with the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I hope inshallah this video has been beneficial and it has clarified some of the points and the confusion around these issues, because these ideas are very prevalent. We hear them all the time. So please, if you like the discussion, like the video, comment on the video, and please subscribe, please support the channel, so inshallah I can continue in future to present more videos like this and clarifying a lot of the Muslim issues that are appearing and the right concepts that we should take from Islam.